it is being taught to police officers, be bold, be fear. These are only examples, but there are n number of binary commands. Judges, be fair, be partiality. I've got requests from the United States to train people in commando camps so that this becomes a process by which they reinforce their psyche. Be strong, beat weakness. So both success and failure can be a stumbling block or a building block. And it depends on our choice. This is another Philippism that flew out of this thought process. So the inputs that we make in everything is a pattern. You cannot actually isolate strength and weakness. It's a pattern. Neither is success and failure isolated elements, but they are a pattern. So when we make an input change in the strength-weakness pattern, we make an input change, an output change in the success-failure pattern or happiness-depression pattern. So the unique significance of equilibrium psychology is that it prepares people for extreme readiness. Since the neurons are continually firing and due to the neural plasticity of the mind, as these binary commands are continually practiced both physically and in our inner self-talk and visually, it enables the mind to be proactive and to take decisions quite quickly. And it is a holistic thought process which involves spirit, mind and body. There was a reference in one of the presentations to the spirit, but it not only deals with the spirit, strengthening the spirit, but also the mind and the body, because all three have a role in developing our strength, weakness patterns and our happiness, sadness patterns. And it also enables, however old we are, it enables us to stay young and active at the mental level. And it is compatible with the way the human body functions. As I said, the heart functions in a binary way. The lungs, the respiration, the hormones, all of it functions in a binary way. And when equilibrium psychology is placed on these two parallel rails, we are compatible with nature itself, day and night, consumption and excretion, birth and death. All these are patterns, and we would be making psychology of the human mind also compatible and conform to these natural patterns. So studies have been done, and this study has been published in an online holistic humane healthcare journal as early as the beginning of this millennium or this century, around 2002-03 in the United States. And this study done with my police trainees showed that as many as 32 people improved to the extent of 70% in terms of parameters like endurance, their competitiveness, their calmness, their happiness, and correspondingly the decline in terms of their opposite, depression, and so on. As many as 70% improved to the largest extent, to the tune of 71 to 80% in terms of these parameters, and a little less than 30% in the range of 81% to 90%. And in addition to that, there are a good number of case studies. In the year 2001, when I did a 2-hour session like this is just a half-an-hour session, that was just a 2-hour session with 100 MBAs in a sales team of a blue chip company dealing with capital, and the total productivity went up of this 100 trainees who were, hardened salespeople in that company. The vice president sent me a feedback after 3 months saying that we had many interventions, but there was no change in the productivity, in the sales. But after this input on equilibrium psychology, the total sales improved from $500,000 to $4 million over a period of just 4 months. There was a quantum jump. I asked him how did it happen, and he said that the average performer became a top performer and the top performer also improved. And this proves Daniel Goldman's thesis that if you improve the emotional intelligence of people, of employees, the productivity and profitability would shoot up. But American companies have spent billions of dollars, it is said, on finding a way to improve EQ, and they have not found it. And Stephen Covey also mentions it in his book, The Greatest Habit. He said, I've read a lot on material on emotional intelligence. It's all very good. But there is very little to show how you can enhance emotional intelligence. But equilibrium thinking or equilibrium psychology will enhance emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence, your persistence, and the imagination quotient. Because you imagine that, something as abstract as love, as calmness, as patience, is invading your lungs, your entire body, and affecting your entire mind and body and spirit. So even the imagination takes a quantum jump. It enables a large number of my trainees to overcome stress and tension. Right now, a good number of my trainees are listening, 87 of them in the Tamilnadu Police Academy. And when I joined there as director, I found that many of them were stressed based on their written feedback they gave me. Thanks to this pandemic and the rigor of the training, and that they were cut off from their families. But in a few days of practicing these binary processes, they are far more relaxed, more productive, happier lot. It enabled a good number of people to overcome anger and impulsiveness. We were training an entire front office staff of a hospital, and they were able to overcome anger. It enabled people to overcome nervous breakdowns, solve dicey family problems, and beat die-hard habits like habitual smoking. So the proof of the concept you would find in these references, as I mentioned, in the Indian Police Journal, and also it is published in the US online journal. And the website you could consult or browse for further information, www.eqthinking.com. On this occasion, on this historic occasion of launching this equilibrium psychology, I would also take this opportunity to launch the beta version of the EQ Thinking app, the first ever mindware to enable people everywhere to access the ATM, the anytime meditation, the anytime motivation, and improve their mental health so that they become their own counselor, their own psychological counselor. And anyone could access this. And finally, if you need more material on the thoughts that have come out of equilibrium thinking is there in Philippisms, 3,333 maxims to maximize your life. With this, I conclude this presentation, and I thank the organizers for having given this valuable opportunity to make an attempt in a small way to contribute to the mental health of the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prateep. Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
Any questions on this presentation? I repeat, any questions on his presentation?